Good morning, guys. It's Saturday. You know what time that is. It's one man and his boat time. Yay! Put the kettle on, get the feet up, and get comfortable for the next 20 minutes. So my friends, what are we going to cover in today's video? Well, a lot of people say I'm full of hot air, and they're not far wrong. So today I thought, well, great topic, let's talk about ventilation. Yes, it's about time our little Beta 43 gets a little bit of air, and we're going to discuss the ins and outs of what, when, where and why. So guys, why does an engine need ventilation? Well, the best way to describe it without going into technical detail, this is more your basic concept of what an engine does. It's exactly like you and I. We all need food, we all need water, and we also need to, you know what's it, the other end. An engine is just a mechanical form of us. It does exactly the same. It needs diesel to run, it needs raw water to keep cool, it needs to obviously expel at the other end, and of course, it needs air. Why does it need air? For the combustion. And the combustion's what makes the pistons move inside. But what happens if it doesn't get that air? Come on, me and Mr. Whiteboard, I'll talk a wee bit more about that. Right guys, just remember, I am no expert. All it is I'm reading up manuals. If there's anybody out there that actually does know a lot more about engines and why we need ventilation, please leave a comment below or get in touch and I'll correct myself in another video. So, as you can see, we've got our lovely Cygnus 21 and we've got our bulkheads here. Now, we're quite lucky because we're having this bit open. That was all part of my theory about the ventilation. Now, what happens once we get the deck on? Obviously, deck. Right, how's the engine going to breathe? There's no pipes coming in here or anything like that. And what will happen is if the engine's got to breathe its own air in this little space, it'll end up actually choking. Now what will happen is you get, the engine will slow down itself. It'll sound like a fuel problem, but it's actually not. And you'll probably black reek as well. Your exhaust thingy out the back will be a wee bit blacker than what it should be, and it's just not a good scenario to be in. So, what's Baza going to do? Well, where we're going to have the fuel tank, oh, hold on now, we'll get a different colour for the fuel tank. We'll call this Mr. Fuel Tank A, which we discussed in our last episode. Right, so there's our fuel tank. Now, the rule of thumb is to actually get your ventilation as low as possible. So guys, here's an interesting one for you before we carry on with Mr. Whiteboard. Remember in episode 32 or 31, one of the two of them, I was talking about our MC and our lovely batteries, how we have them in a sealed container, and a charging battery gives off hydrogen, which is obviously a very explosive gas, and we know how all that turned out for certain people. Well, it says in black and white in the Beta Marine book, this is the installation guide. One, I'll show you. Right guys, I'll try and keep it still. This is a section that I'm interested in. As a consequence, it is highly important that the vessel owner or installation engineers are responsible to ensure that the engine compartment has adequate ventilation to enable efficient internal combustion, effective reference of heat out of the engine compartment room, and prevent the accumulation of gases which might be emitted from the starter batteries. So my friends, what do you make of that? In black and white? Maybe Barry's right after all. Anyway, it's not to me to argue with those a higher education than I, of course. No, we can't do that, can we? But yet again, I might be the idiot, I might be the one that's wrong. So if anybody has more knowledge than I, please let me know. I mean, it might be only a small amount of hydrogen it gives off when it charges. I don't know the exact amounts and measures. But if it says there, it says there. What can I say? Right, let's get on with Mr. Whiteboard. As we've seen from the last clip, we now know that gas is heavier than air. And where does the gas sit? The gas usually sits just above your keel line there. That's why when we put a carbon monoxide detector in, we put it in as low as possible, because obviously that's where the gas is going to accumulate. But we can do something about that as well. So we're killing two birds with one stone. We're getting rid of the gases and we're actually cooling down the engine. We do that by putting in ventilation pipes. Now my idea is to put some ventilation pipes underneath the diesel tank here, and then that way we can expel the gases and actually keep the crankcase nice and cool as well, because that's one part that we have to do, is keep it as low as possible and as close as possible to the crank. But obviously it's a ventilation system. Now system obviously means a flow. So how do we get the air down into the bottom of the keel? Well, you all know that I'm going to just have a little console up here. Obviously that's not to size. If no, it's a big blooming console. What my plan is to actually have some ventilation pipes in the front there, nice and disguised, looking lovely, getting plenty of air, and actually drawing the air down and putting it in the bulges. Now obviously when the engine's running for a wee while, the heat will build up, but we want to get rid of that heat and we want to get rid of the exhaust gases. So obviously when the boat's moving forward this way, all the air's coming in through our ventilation pipes, and now the gases and the hot air can actually be expelled by putting ventilation caps on the outside of the bulkhead. Now Beta have suggested that you put an electronic fan in the back end up the top here and actually expel it out the back of the boat. They've got a wee turbo fan thing like that. Now, one, I can't afford to add any more to my budget because prices are going low and we're still to try and launch the boat. And B, we're actually taking up more amperage on our little batteries as is, and I think we're kind of at the max with the amount of equipment that I'm going to have in this console over here. So that's the general plan. We're going to get air sucked in, down the bottom, get the gases out, get the heat out, and up through the other side of the boat and out. And that will help you maintain a very healthy engine. Well, as long as you service it regularly as well, of course. Now guys, the guys at Beta have done all the science and they've worked out the ventilation that we need for a 40 horsepower is 50 centimetres squared. So obviously we're 43, so it can't be much more than that. So we know that's the typical ventilation requirements. But as with everything on one man in his boat, nothing is typical. And Barry always does things OTT. So what's the mad scientist thinking of? Well, we're going to have enough ventilation to ventilate a Cygnus 32, never mind a Cygnus 21. That's the plan. So, I'll show you exactly what I'm going to talk about. So there you go, boys and girls, this is what we're going to be using. Just your simple drain pipe. However, inside diameter is 63 millimeters, and we're going to be using two of these. So there's 120 millimeters of air, and what do we need? Just over 50. So more than enough, more than ample to keep our little 43 nice and cool. Right guys, as you can see, we've got two pipes lining the bulges here, and with the shape of the longitudinals, that's the bits that are running the length of the boat, that are actually attached to the boat. They come up at the front just where the console is going to go, so I've got a bit of fettling to do to actually get these to fit. Now I need them higher at the top end here and lower at the bottom end. I'll show you on my feet. And that's just the same as a construction of a roof. We need to have a runoff just in case we get any water ingress through the ventilation system. Yes, our ventilation system will need capped because we need caps for our ventilation systems for our MCA. That is a must. There's no getting away from that. It's always something that they pick up on. So we might as well do it at the start. So we'll make plugs for the ventilation as well. But like I was saying, higher at the front, lower at the back. Nice good runoff for if there's any water. It goes into the bulges, the pump picks up the water and chucks it back over the side again. But if we do the system correctly, we shouldn't have that problem, so we better do it correctly. So that's the plan, guys. That's what we're getting on with now. So time to get the tools on. They might long last. I'll stop blethering, Barry. Half an hour playing with this bit of kit. Pointless. Right, they're going to think on another idea. Oh, if it's no one thing, it's another. Bloody boats. Right, boys and girls, I'm so sorry. I've got to babble on just for a little bit longer. It's all to do with my theory on the battery scenario, how we're putting a charging battery that gives off hydrogen in a small container. I mean, I'm ex-forces, and you're trained quite quickly about what these little pyrotechnics can do. So imagine what a big battery can do. Talking of which, one of our regular viewers got in touch with me last night, hence why I've got to babble on a bit, and says that my theory is absolutely correct because he has actually, this is where it gets a little bit dark, he has actually experienced the wrong end of my theory. Now, unfortunately, poor Carl, his boat wouldn't start in the morning, so he went to change the batteries over, thinking it was the batteries were drawn. So as he was taking one battery out to going over the other battery, without touching, he never touched, the bottom battery exploded. Now, the only saving grace that he's still here today is because he had the other battery over his face. But unfortunately for poor Carl, he's still got battery acid in his face, in his eyes. He was in a hellish mess. He says basically for weeks afterwards his eyes were in bits, and that was quickly scrambling on his hands and knees, bless him, up to the wheel just to douse his eyes in water. So it's proof for the pudding. Now, I'm actually going to link the MCA into this video because I think it's something they should be aware of, and I think it's something they should deal with because it's absolutely ridiculous. If you put a firecracker on your hand, the firecracker explodes. You will get a bit of damage on your hands, so don't do it. You put a firecracker in your fist, you're not going to have a hand left. So that's exactly the same as putting a battery in a box as it's charging. The hydrogen's going to build. All it takes is a spark, or a static even, and bang, there you go. It's either blowing a hole in the side of your boat and your boat's now sunk, or if you're messing about with the batteries, it's going to blow your frickin' head off. Now the MCA, please take note of this. I'm sorry for going so dark, guys, but I think it's something everyone should be aware of. It's not the only story that I have heard of batteries exploding. I mean, one of our local guys had a mishap with that. He was in the wheelhouse, luckily enough for him, and all I heard was a huge bang and the whole boat shuddered. And the frickin' battery was blown to bits all over the engine room. Now imagine if that had happened to sea, not in the harbour. You know what I mean? So if you've got any stories about exploding batteries or battery related issues, please leave a comment below. Let me know so I can actually put a portfolio together even to send to the MCA to say, look, this matter needs looked at. Men's and women's safety is at risk here. So please do something about this, because it's just so wrong. It really is so wrong. I mean, am I the only one with common sense here that thinks that we should be dealing with this stuff, or should it just be paperwork? Oh look, the paperwork says this, so it must be done like that. Because that's what you get from the MCA. I mean, like I've already shared with you my story with the rock hopper, and the fella didn't ken X-ray Z, and he was meant to be an engineer on a merchant boat. Anyway, I'd like to thank Carl for passing that story across. I hope you all found it interesting. I certainly did, and I was shocked to the core because Carl and I have had a few blethers before on the Texas and everything like that, so I'm quite fond of the fella, especially with his ideas, because he has some damn fine ideas, especially to put onto this one. So, talking of which, let's get on with it. So boys and girls, after sleeping on it last night, I've come up with a better idea of actually getting these ventilation pipes put in. What I'm going to do is put a bit of wood across the way and just hang it from underneath with these basically these guttering hooks. Simple. Shows you what happens when you can walk away and think about it for 5 minutes, eh? I don't know how it doesn't come to you when you're actually doing the job. But that could be me and it could be few batteries, maybe that's what it is. Right, let's get on with this. Right, boys and girls, it's been a good few years since I actually sealed this bit of plywood, and it's not drying. It's sunny out, but it's still cool. So it looks like I'm going to have to knock the video on the head of that. I'm sorry guys. It's just the dealings that you've got to have with to try and build a boat in the winter time. It's not easy. Everything, you're waiting days for things to dry correctly. And we can't fit the ventilation until that bit of wood's in. We can't fit the diesel tank until the ventilation's in. So yeah, it's a bugger. So anyway guys, so my friends, I'm afraid that's the end of the video for today. Oh, you just have to wait till next week. I just want to say a big thank you to you all for watching my channel, and I really appreciate everybody that views. Please think about subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. Smash that like button if you love this video. Leave a comment below if you know more than what I do, which is not hard. And tick that notification bell, and I'll see you all next week. All the best, my friends. So what are we going to cover in today's video? Well, a lot of people say I'm full of hot air. They're no far wrong. Anyway, yeah, I laugh at my own jokes. Today we're going to be covering, see, I naffed it up, oh man. And yes, it is cool, it's bloody freezing today. Right, take 143, which I will cap because we will need the ventilation caps need capped for MCA. I'll say that again, I think. For the other. This is actually quite difficult to explain. Maybe I should have used the body as an example. The engine is exactly the same. It needs diesel, it needs it's gone again.